Back at Wrigley Field in Chicago. It is not raining. However, there was a little mist falling a few moments ago. Some fog has rolled in as well, but things look clear enough to get this game resumed. Stopped last night at 10:07 local time, 11:07 Eastern time, with the Mets and Cubs playing in the 10th inning, tied 1-1, and we'll get it resumed in just a few minutes. Alongside Ron Darling, I'm Gary Cohen back at Wrigley Field. This was a night last night that featured two of the hottest pitchers in baseball. Jacob deGrom has been doing it all year against Cole Hamels. They were both good. deGrom outlasted Hamels in this game, and he just continues to solidify his Cy Young credentials.
You know, what's hard about last night's game is that it just seemed like, because the 8 hits allowed, the walk, he had people on base all night long. But he was throwing harder than we've ever seen him. 99.7 on the gun on a strikeout to Baez. He threw the ball past people. He had a good backdoor slider. He gave a collar to Daniel Murphy, which is difficult right now. And then he had the pitch after he kind of tweaked that right knee and stayed on the ground for some time and came back through a couple of warm-up pitches. And then after that, he did it all. He made some great defensive plays. This is a base hit that drove in the only run for the Mets in this ball game. And, you know, I don't know. 9 deGroms out there might give you a better chance against anybody.
He keeps making history. 24 straight starts with 3 runs or fewer, tying Doc Gooden's major league mark, at least since 1913. 19 straight quality starts, ties Tom Seaver's club record. 61 starts in his career. He's allowed 1 run or fewer. How about this? 8 times now this year he's gone at least 7 innings, allowed no more than 1 run, and not gotten a win. And that's why his 1-loss record is what it is. And all 3 of those guys pitched last night. And despite the 1-loss record, you'd have to say deGrom is still at the head of the class.
I think Scherzer took a step backwards, a tiny step. I think Aaron Nola, who was in line for the win, but the Phillies fell on their face late, and Jacob deGrom just keeps moving forward. So to me, he is the #1 frontrunner for the award.
So this game will resume in moments. Michael Conforto will be at the plate with a 2-0 count in the top of the 10th inning. Now, it's important to note in this game that if the game goes long, right, we're in the 10th inning, the Mets have the personnel advantage. The Cubs have already used 6 pitchers in this game. The Mets have only used deGrom and Lugo. The Cubs have also used half of their bench, whereas the Mets have not used any of their bench so far tonight.
Yeah, it's an interesting game when these games restart. Who do you decide? Do the Cubs stay with Steve Cishek? It looks like they might do that. The Mets could stay with Lugo if they score a quick run, and Lugo can finish the game. So it's going to depend on the score and if someone can punch a run across.
Now Lugo is getting ready, but so is Jerry Blevins. Now when we resume, Conforto will be up to resume his turn at bat. The pitcher spot is due up 6th in the inning, so if the Mets can score before Lugo's spot comes up, maybe you leave him in. If they are in a rally when Lugo's spot comes up, say they have the bases loaded and 2 out, then you'd probably bat for him.
Yeah, bat for him, but if you can score, then Lugo can try to get the save. If the game remains tied, it looks like Jerry Blevins is going to be in the ballgame.
And also keep in mind, Robert Gazelman was not available last night. He might be available tonight. He's been out with strep throat. He hasn't eaten much the last 2 days. He was going to throw before the game and see whether he was available. And remember, there's another game to play after this, so all of that will come into play if this game continues on much longer. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Fios, the best way to watch your Mets all season long. Get the 100% fiber optic network. Visit getfios.com. By your local Ford dealers for great deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. Visit buyfordnow.com. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. And by Hyundai, get a great deal more than a great deal on all new Hyundai vehicles. See your Hyundai dealer today. Now this is outside Wrigley Field, getting ready for the resumption of today's game.
Well, along with Fenway Park, they have made this into just a destination to come and spend all day before and after the game.
Well, there's always been plenty to do outside Wrigley Field. Just it's gotten a little more homogenized.
It is. It's a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood ballpark.
The Cardinals continued their red-hot August with a victory over the Pirates last night. They're now 20-5 this month, and they have re-upped their interim manager. Mike Schulte gets a contract through the end of 2020.
Yeah, 3-year contract. That's great for Mike and the Cardinals. He's been unbelievable these 39 games since he's taken the helm.
So they're keeping the pressure on the Cubs. The Brewers, on the other hand, lost last night to the Reds 9-7 to fall 5.5 games off the pace. They've had a very rough stretch. They've lost 11 of their last 19. So it is Steve Cishek to resume. He was on the mound when the game was suspended with a 2-0 count on Conforto. He had just come in to start the 10th.
Well, Cishek in the night prior came in and on his second pitch gave up a home run to Plawecki on a slider. So let's see if Michael Conforto with his 2-0 count comes out swinging against Cishek.
So Cishek basically is pitching for a third straight day.
Yeah.
There's the up to the minute defense. Zobrist didn't start the game, came in for Murphy at second base.
Are you putting on a jacket, Kerry?
I am. Wind is blowing in. It's a little chilly. And I think we're going to start playing baseball. 14 hours after we had this game suspended. First suspension for the Mets since 2015 when they won a suspended game from the Reds at Citi Field. Conforto 0 for 4 in this game, and the 2-0 pitch is outside, and we're back underway. And Cishek falls behind on Conforto 3-0, leading off the top of the 10th. Frazier and Bruce to follow. Full infield shift on against Conforto. And Cishek fires one down the middle for a strike.
It's an interesting crowd because they pack this place every game. So, of course, people are going to be coming in, sputtering in. They got the 4 guys behind the plate.
And Conforto fouls one back. Well, the scene here when it was misting rain and foggy about 20 minutes ago with the suspension and the postponement, very reminiscent of an October day in 1973 as Conforto draws a walk and the Mets have the leadoff man on in the 10th. The Mets were battling for the NL East title down to the final days of 1973. The last game of the season was scheduled here at Wrigley. It was postponed from Sunday to the Monday after the season. There were probably about 1,000 people in the ballpark on a misty, murky, rainy day when the Mets beat the Cubs that day after the season ended to clinch the National League East.
45 years ago. Wow.
Here's Todd Frazier, and he takes a fastball inside for ball 1. Frazier's 1 for 3 and a walk in this game. Mets have had lots of opportunities. Last night they left 11 runners on base, went 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position, 2 for 15 with men on base, and now looking for a big hit the day after. Ball and a strike to Frazier. Steve Cishek, the 6th Cubs pitcher in this game. Cole Hamels went 5 scoreless. Brandon Kinsler, Jorge De La Rosa, Carl Edwards, Pedro Strop all followed, and then Cishek came in to start the 10th.
Yeah, Cishek is a tall right-hander who throws a submarine, so he does not have a good move to first. Takes an extremely long time to deliver the ball to the plate.
Frazier 2 for 9 in his career against Cishek. And he takes a slider for a strike, and it's 1-2. Mets have always had good fortune against Cishek, going back to his days closing games for the Marlins.
His ERA is about 5.5 against the Mets in his career.
And Frazier goes down on strikes for the first down of the inning. That is the 13th strikeout for Cubs pitching in this game. 3rd time Frazier has been found.
We've seen this by Frazier the last few games. He's got an awfully long swing working right now.
Now Jay Bruce, who's 0 for 3 and a walk in this game. His 5th game back from the disabled list. Conforto at first and 1 out, and the backdoor slider misses for ball 1. Bruce has had a defensive impact on this game. He made a fantastic play to help out DeGrom in the second inning, robbing Victor Caratini, but he also had a base hit go under his glove that led to the only Cubs run.
Hey, listen, that ball was hit awfully hard, but you hope that your first baseman can get some leather on that. But a great play early in the game. Nimmo had a great play the first out of the game, and Austin Jackson had a nice catch in center field for DeGrom. Said he felt great today. Played catch.
Loved Jake's comments after the game last night. He was asked about the radar gun ratings, and he had a big smile on his face. He said, I might have snuck a peek. I was feeling good out there.
Yeah.
99.7. Uncharted territory for DeGrom. And Bruce chases one, and it's 2-2. Kevin Plawecki, who homered against Cishek in the opening game of this series, is on deck.
Looked like a little changeup from Cishek. We don't see a lot of those.
Two coming, and it just missed. Full count.
Little backdoor slider. I thought it was outside. What's the StatCast say? Yeah. So DeJesus, the home plate umpire, outstanding.
Conforto at first and one out. Track is a little slow. See if he's running on 3-2. He is. And a backdoor breaking ball gets Bruce looking. Conforto is out at second base. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. Ends the inning. Baez put down the tag. Close play at second base. And the Mets are done in the top of the 10th. Best tagger in baseball, and he got him. Jerry Blevins in the game. So Seth Lugo was warming up, but he comes out, and I guess Mickey Callaway is going to save him for the regularly scheduled game today, and Blevins will pitch the bottom of the 10th.
Well, Jerry pitched on the first game of the series, gave up 3 straight hits to Rizzo, Zobrist, and Hayward. Here pitching in the second game, but a day of rest.
David Bote, who already has 2 walk-off home runs in his brief big league career, fouls Blevins' first fastball back. Bote's driven in the only Cubs run of this game with a sacrifice fly in the 7th against DeGrom. Wilson Contreras is out on deck with the pitcher's spot due up next. Cubs only have 2 players left in their dugout, Contreras and Ian Happ. And Bote Fouls off the fastball, and quickly it's 0-2. So Lugo worked a 1-2-3 ninth, and I guess I'm trying to think along with Mickey Callaway here. If the Mets had taken the lead, then they probably would have left Lugo in to try and close the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now this way he can save Lugo for the second game, whereas if he pitched more here, he probably wouldn't be available the second game. Bodie fouls it off.
I think you're really going to have in my opinion, a Vargas kind of Oswalt game.
Although if this game keeps going for a while, you might want to pitch Oswalt in extra innings here.
That's true.
But the Mets have just about their entire bullpen available. The question is Gesellman, whether he might be available today or not, with as sick as he's been the last couple of days. And the backdoor breaking ball misses, and it's 1-2 to Bodie. Jesse Chavez, who got the save in the first game of the series, is up now in the Cubs bullpen. It's only the fourth save of his long major league career, and 3 of them have come this year. 1-2 to Bodie, and the curveball. He loses the bat and he strikes out. Bat winds up in the camera well, and Bodie is down on strikes to start the bottom of the 10th. Now that's a curveball that fools a hitter.
Talking about the 3 hits he gave up in the first game of this series. Breaking ball that bounces. Bodie with the launch into the camera well.
So now Wilson Contreras will pinch it. Contreras started the first game of the series, went 1 for 4, drove in a run. Contreras 0 for 2 in his career against Blevins. Anthony Rizzo waits on deck. And the first pitch curveball outside, ball 1.
Defensively for the Mets, Conforto, Jackson, Nimmo played the whole first game. Frazier, Rosario, McNeil, and Bruce, the same defense as they started the game last night.
Mets have not made a position player substitution in this game. And a fastball on the corner for a strike, 1-1. Cubs in extra innings this year are 7-7. The Mets are 6-8. And Contreras fouls it off. You know, the last time the Mets and Cubs had a suspended game at Wrigley Field, you were playing.
Really?
1986. Game called because of darkness in the 7th inning, back before they had lights at Wrigley. And the Mets wound up winning that game the next day, 7-6.
Very nice. Darkness. Can you imagine?
Those were the days before the lights started in '88. Contreras bounces one out to Rosario. And Blevins has the first 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th. And now he will take on a red-hot hitter with Anthony Rizzo coming up. Rizzo already has 3 hits in this game, 3 singles after 2 doubles and a home run in the first game of the series. He also had 3 hits the last time the Mets and Cubs played at Citi Field, last game he started. 3 straight 3-hit games against the Mets ties the most ever. Nobody's ever had 4 straight 3-hit games against the Mets.
Well, you judge hitters and players, leaders, as Rizzo is, not only by their numbers, and his numbers are outstanding, but just think about who he got those 3 hits off of. Jacob deGrom, at his finest, laces out 3 hits. That's impressive.
Rizzo 1 for 9 in his career against Blevins, and the Mets put the full shift on against him. And Blevins keeping it inside to him. A ball and a strike. Everybody wants to pitch Rizzo inside, but there's so little room for error in there.
Yeah, that's where he wants it. Now, if you execute the pitch inside corner, you're in good shape. but he is so quick inside. Just seeing it well. You can see it on the breaking ball. As soon as he noticed it's going to be out of the strike zone, he just never even offers at it.
Rizzo not only has been hitting overall, he's been hitting lefties lately. 6 for his last 12 with 2 doubles and a home run against left-hand pitching. And the curveball pulled foul, and it's 2-2.
You know that these Cubs have been playing what they call American Legion games. Joe Madden lets them come late to the ballpark, no BP, just get ready to play. And Rizzo the other day brought a bunch of orange slices, because that's, if you've ever played American Legion baseball, that's what you usually have.
By the way, the Cubs are 19-2 in their American Legion games over the last 4 years. So I guess it works. Rizzo lines one into right field, and he's got his 4th hit of the game. How about that? Just red hot. 2-out single for Rizzo.
A breaking ball that stays inside, stays right on it. Beautiful swing. Drops that back knee, which is unique in his swing, and hits it over the shift.
So now another left-hand hitter for Blevins as Jason Hayward comes up. Paul Sewald is up in the Mets bullpen with a right-hand hitter, Javi Baez, on deck. Hayward is 0 for 3 in this game. He was robbed by Austin Jackson, who made a terrific catch against him in the 6th. And he walked his last time up against DeGrom in the 8th. That's when DeGrom probably did his best work. He gave up a single to Rizzo and a walk to Hayward in a tie game in the 8th. But then he struck out Baez and got a comebacker for a double play from Caratini. And that was how his night finished.
Well, when he gave up a run in the 7th on the sacrifice fly from David Bodie, I thought the at-bat that represented what DeGrom is all about was the one to end the 7th against Daniel Murphy. 3-2 count, slider inside, perfect pitch.
And it had to be perfect.
It had to be,
because with Murph, if he leaves it over the plate, Murph hits it. If it's too far inside, he takes it for ball 4. Fastball in the corner to Hayward, 0-1. Hayward 1 for 6 in this series. Number 3 hitter in this lineup with Javi Baez on deck. And Blevins throws the fastball by him, and it's 0-2.
Hayward's always had a long swing. And I think maybe he came at a time when the velocity just kicked in and jumped up, made it more difficult for him to be the real effective offensive player that he wanted to be.
0-2 from Blevins, and the curveball struck him out. Blevins fans Hayward his 2nd strikeout of the inning, and that sends this game to 11. Please go to 11. Nice job by Blevins, still tied at 1. Been a happy day for the late Ernie Banks. We're not quite playing 2 today, but 1 apiece. I think Ernie would be satisfied.
How do you know we're not playing 2?
Well, don't know how many innings we're playing in this one. Jesse Chavez got the save in game 1 of this series. Comes in to face Kevin Plawecki in the 11th.
Well, he came in with the bases loaded. He bailed out Strop and Justin Wilson by striking out both of the batters he faced, Rosario and Austin Jackson.
Cubs held on for a 7-4 win, just the 5th save of Chavez's long career. Started this year pitching for Texas, and he has been on the money for the Cubs since they picked him up. Chavez has been with 9 different major league teams, now 35 years old.
Joe Madden loves him because he's a strike thrower. Most managers, when they bring a reliever in, they let the guy who's not going to walk people come right after people, and that's who Chavez has always been. He's been one of those guys, though, you never knew if he fitted in your rotation or in the bullpen. He's gone back and forth his entire career.
Plawecki fouls it back. Brandon Nimmo on deck, and then the pitcher spot for the Mets in the 11th. Mets still have all their bench players available: Reyes, Flores, Mesoraco, Nido. Mesoraco, by the way, is now usable. Supposed to start the first game in San Francisco Friday. That's the plan, but they can use him if they need him now, coming back from the sore neck. It's not sunny, by the way.
Mysterious, though.
Plawecki pops one up, shallow right field. Out goes Zobrist to call. And 2 hands for the out. So 1 out in the 11th. The Mets' last hit came leading off the 7th inning. Jeff McNeil hit a triple in the gap in right center. And the Mets had a runner at third with nobody out and never got him home. A couple of line drive outs, and then Bruce struck out. And that was one of the prime scoring opportunities the Mets bypassed in this game. Nimmo, first game back from the disabled list, and it's taken him 2 days to play it. He missed 12 games with a bruised finger. He's gone 0 for 4 in this game with 3 strikeouts. I mean, it's a cliche in the game, right? You never get hurt when you're in a slump.
That's right.
But you couldn't have been hotter than Nimmo was when he got hit on the finger in Philadelphia.
10 for 14 or something like that.
Coming off a 5-hit game the day before. And fastball from Chavez in for a strike, 1-2. Wilmer Flores out on deck to pinch hit, with Blevins due up next. Let's have Sewald and Zamora up in the bullpen. One-two coming, and the fastball just missed. 2-2.
It's like, I know I have these glasses on, but that looked like a good pitch to me.
And Nimmo hits it through the hole for a base hit. So his first hit coming back off the DL, and Nimmo's aboard with 1 out.
Supposed to be a slider, didn't have much on it, just spinning right in the middle of the plate, and Nimmo was all over it. Nice short swing. Watch the pitcher, Jesse Chavez. It's interesting because he's kind of bow-legged pitcher. So when you watch, he doesn't throw across his body, but his front foot lands closed. So he's totally open, which usually your foot would be open straight to the plate, but it's closed because he's bow-legged. I haven't said bow-legged about anyone probably in years, but that's unique.
There have been bow-legged pitchers. Randy Myers comes to mind.
That's right.
So here's Wilmer. Wilmer's got 3 hits and 4 career at bats against Chavez. Flores started the opening game of the series at first base, went 0 for 4. Nimmo at first and 1 out. And Wilmer takes a fastball for a strike. Flores 0 for his last 11 after a hot streak. Likely to see his playing time vastly diminished now with Jay Bruce getting many of the reps at first base. And he pops one foul backing out of play, and it's 0-2. We first saw Jesse Chavez pitching for the Pirates. He had a stop in Atlanta along the way.
Oakland,
Dodgers, Blue Jays, Angels, Rangers, Kansas City.
No Oakland?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oakland. I don't know if I got them all. It's not quite the Edwin Jackson retinue, but he's been around.
I'm kind of digging the glasses.
He's seen it all. That's why he's hiding.
I know. I can't. I couldn't pull that off, but I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's just off the plate. 1-2 to Flores with Ahmed Rosario on deck. Never understood the glasses that don't hook around your ears, though. They might have a tough time staying on in a difficult situation.
I know. There looks like there's an extra, what, 3-4 inches there. Oakley's.
Lined, caught by Zobrist, double play, side retired. 2 extra innings, 2 double plays. Strike him out, throw him out in the 10th. Line drive, double play, and Nimmo is doubled up to end the top of the 11th. Still 1-1. Up there, they've got CPR training going on.
Yep, CPR training.
It's nice that the little kids learning how to revive people.
Have you ever gone through that, the CPR training?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
It's a good thing to know. Paul Sewald on to pitch the bottom of the 11th. Javi Baez trying to end it on one swing. 0-1.
Well, Sewald was part of that game. Remember, Steven Matz started, pitched 7 innings of 1-run ball, and then it went all wrong for the Mets as they gave up 14 in the last 2 innings.
Yeah, he gave up the first 5 of those, including the Bryce Harper 3-run double. Baez, Caratini, and Schwarber for the Cubs in the 11th. And Baez quickly down to the count 0-2. Baez has struck out 3 times in this game, all against DeGrom. He also had that swinging bunt that produced a shudder amongst the Mets faithful when DeGrom tweaked his knee, but Turned out to be of no import.
Fastest pitch that Jacob deGrom's ever thrown in his career. Struck out Baez in the first inning.
Officially 99.7, but it registered on our gun at 100 because we don't have decimals. Rounds up.
We will, I'm sure.
I like it the way it is. It's a lot of shakes.
To go back to the same pitch.
And slider off the plate.
If you've noticed at home, folks, they have been working with Paul Sewald to drop his arm angle a little. He's always been 3/4, but they're getting him even a little lower to make him a little more effective, they think, against right-handed hitters.
And that fastball just missed. 2-2 to Baez.
Dave Island working with him.
Well, that's fine against the righties, but what happens when he faces the lefties?
Well, he's going to have to get a more effective changeup from down there.
And now after getting on Baez, he runs a full count.
The thing I've seen that's different from Sewald last year, in my opinion, is that he's not been as aggressive as he was last year. We always talked about how he would go right after hitters. A lot of walks this year, or at least deep counts.
And he walks Baez to start the bottom of the 11th. Baez does not walk often. Only his 21st walk of the year, but he's aboard with the potential winning run. Daniel Zamora up in the bullpen. You got Schwarber on deck, left-hand hitter, so we'll probably see Zamora for him. But first, it's the switch hitting Caratini, who you would certainly suspect will be asked to bunt. Caratini hit the comebacker into a double play his last time up. Baez 21 stolen bases on the year. It's the first time all season, believe it or not, that Javi Baez has walked to lead off an inning. First time all year. Caratini bunts it. Sewald's play will be to first. High throw off the tarp. It's in play. Baez to third. He'll be held up there as Nimmo gets the ball in, but the Cubs have the winning run at third with nobody out. Good bunt by Caratini. Horrible throw by Sewald. And the Cubs are a fly ball away from winning this game.
Listen, his troubles started, one, when he slipped to pick up the ball. Second, because it's been kind of sprinkling here, he got a wet ball and just did not make the throw. And Baez, who had stopped at second, if he had kept going, he might have had a chance to score on that play.
I think he thought that ball was going out of play. Ball skimmed off the top of the tarp. Looked like it might go out of play. It stayed in.
See Baez, he stops at second, not even watching, and then finally reacts. But it started when he just stumbled, and picking up that ball just threw him out of whack.
So now the infield comes in, the outfield comes in. Schwarber has been walked intentionally to fill the bases, and Albert Almora will try and win it for the Cubs. Bases loaded, nobody out. And the first pitch slider misses inside for ball one.
This is what I was talking about. Watch him slip right here. We saw deGrom slip last night. Just that little slip threw him off. Didn't have a proper grip on a little wet baseball, and he won.
Baez the winning run at third with nobody out, and Almora takes a strike, 1-1. Almora is 1 for 4 in this game, and a base hit back in the 5th. Then Zobrist is on deck. And that's fouled off Plawecki and back, 1-2.
If you're watching this series, Almora Jr. has struck out in this series on some bad sliders away. So that's where you want to go if you're Sewald. Bounce it.
Got to trust your catcher with the winning run at third. Infield in, outfield in. And Almora looks one foul. Conforto's probably playing a little too deep in left field.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he can throw that far, and you only want to play as deep as you can throw. Anything over your head, the game's over anyway.
Yeah, Baez's speed predicates that you should be playing shallower. I think Jackson in center field is at a perfect depth.
1-2 to Almora, and it's on the outside corner. He got him looking. So Sewald gets the first out of the inning. As Almora's out on strikes, that's 13 strikeouts for mid pitchers, and that's going to be all for Sewald.
Well, just catches the outside corner.
So with the switch hitter Zobrist coming up, Mickey Callaway is going to call in his left-hander Daniel Zamora to try and clean this inning up. Bases loaded, 1 out, Sewald out, Zamora in. We'll be right back. This game, his 7th big league appearance.
You know, you try to ease some of these young guys into certain situations, but Zamora has been used almost every single one of his appearances have been highly leveraged and important.
Finally gave up a run his last time out when he gave up a home run to Anthony Rizzo. Now, this is interesting, right? You got 1 out and the bases loaded. Zobrist, who runs okay for a 37-year-old, but he's not fast. Where do you play your infield?
Well, because he's hitting from the right side against Zamora, I'd play my middle infield about 3 to 4 steps back from the grass. So they're in double play depth if he hits a hard ground ball. But if he hits a soft ground ball in the middle infield, you can come in and have a force at home.
Yeah, Rosario looks like he's playing a little deeper than that.
That's too deep.
Needs to move in a little bit. McNeil looks like he's in the right spot.
And, you know,
the outfield still has to play shallow.
It's not exactly like the Mets are a double play turning machine.
So I guess on the pull side, Rosario is going to play a little deeper, but then basically it's double play or bust. Zobrist 1 for 2, came off the bench in this game, and a first pitch breaking ball fouled off, 0-1. Zamora with that funky lefty slider. Seeing most of these hitters for the first time, but Zobrist did face him in the opening game of the series, hit a comebacker.
What do we call him?
Out of that
Mr. 88% of the breaking ball.
And he backdoors it and misses. A ball and a strike. If he can get through Zobrist, David Bodie would be next. A leadoff walk to Baez. He went to third base on the sacrifice and Sewald throwing error. Schwarber was intentionally walked. Almora struck out for the first out. 1-1 to Zobrist. And it's hit up the middle, and that gets through, and that'll be a game-winning hit for the Cubs. Zobrist ends it in the bottom of the 11th as Baez comes home with the winning run, and the Cubs have taken the first 2 games of this series with 1 more to play today. Chicago wins it in 11, 2-1.
Well, young Zamora got the ground ball, just well placed by the veteran Zobrist. We said it already, seems to do something every single day to help his team win. If we see that play again, what surprised me, first we'll look at the swing on the breaking ball. Okay, puts the ball in play. Now Rosario's playing deep. Watch Rosario up the middle. Playing deep. You have to dive for this ball.
I don't know what he was thinking.
You dive for it and maybe shovel it to McNeil and turn 2. Maybe you don't get to it, but you have to try.
I'm with you 100%. Kind of a muted reaction on a walk-off hit. It's almost like nobody knows how to respond exactly because you've just played a 2-inning game. But the Cubs win their 7th in a row and stretch their lead back to 4.5 games over the Cardinals in the National League Central as they win this game 2-1 in 11.
They haven't lost a game with Murphy in the lineup and Hamels as a pitcher.
So a game that Jacob deGrom started results in another Met loss despite his best efforts. And the Cubs have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game series. Game summary presented by Fios by Verizon. Game-winning hit for Ben Zobrist in the bottom of the 11th. Paul Sewald now 0-11 in his major league career. Hurt himself with a leadoff walk and a throwing error. The run, though, will be earned. And the Cubs win it 2-1 with another game to play. They say in about 45 minutes. So about 2:30 Eastern time for the start of the regularly scheduled game between the Mets and Cubs. Jason Vargas will be on the mound for the Mets in game 2, and rookie right-hander Alec Mills will make just his 2nd major league start for the Cubs, who will be going for a sweep of the 3-game series. Now for Ron Darling, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew. I'm Gary Cohen at Wrigley Field. We'll see you a little bit later. Now it's time for WB Mason Post Game Live. Let's join Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa.